Assalamu alaikum and pleased to have you guys back on my channel. And this isn't going to be any normal book review video, it is going to be a book update. So, firstly, I would like to apologize for the background noises if you hear them, especially the vehicle noises, right? Because I'm shooting in my balcony at the moment. So, I'm really sorry about that. But let's dive into the video straight. So, I have been meaning to make a book review videos for so long, but I was not able to make one. So, here it is. Initially, I thought of reading around 50 books for this year, but then I corrected it to 30, and I have read almost 11 books by now, and I have to read remaining. I don't know, just do the calculation and so those many books are still remaining to read, and I'm hoping that I get at least not 30 but maybe around 20-25 books, because last year I read 12 books, and I of course want to read more than what I read last year, even if I'm not able to achieve my goal, which I am trying very hard to achieve. But even if I do not touch it exactly, somewhere around that number will be also absolutely fine with me. But in today's video, I am going to share my reviews on my current read, also the books that I have read so far, and how do I feel about everything, what have I been up to in terms of book. So it's everything book related video. Firstly, I would like to start with my current read that I have been loving. Where is it? Yeah, this one and also this one. So, these two are the books that I am currently reading simultaneously. This huge one, that is the Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score. I usually try to read this on weekends. It has been just 1 week since I started this book, and I have been around 100 pages in. And whereas this book have been keeping me captive of itself, and I have been reading it for the whole week. It's Normal People by Sally Rooney, and I have been able to complete around 113 pages. And to be honest, this is a great book, right? It takes you slowly through the lives of Marianne and Connell, who are childhood, I wouldn't say friends, but they develop a kind of friendship between them, and also a kind of relationship between them, though they have never named that relationship. And I think this book basically explores the how a particular relationships find itself and what kind of phases they go through. Now that I have not read a lot, like it's not it's halfway, you can say, and they have developed this whole relationship between themselves, an unspoken relationship where they are able to understand each other, and still they are trying to understand each other, because I don't know, normal human tendencies, they are very weird, they are very I actually have no words how to describe this book, but this book is really good. The thing that I love the most about this book is the way it is written and how descriptive it is. It describes each and everything. So there was this one scene where his mother gets groceries, and Connell was trying to put those groceries on the countertop, and it describes that whole scene in such a beautiful manner, such as when he keeps a particular grocery on the table, it also state what was next to that grocery. And I'm like, dude, this kind of description is what makes this book very special. And basically it tries to explore human behavior, and how people are weird in their own senses, but they are also special at the same time, how they feel about themselves and how they feel about their relationships with each other. As of now, both of the main characters are in their adult life. They are still navigating through their college life and also their relationship so far. If you know me, you know me that I am not a very big fan of physical stuffs when they are written in the books, especially the descriptive things. Okay, once or twice they are good to read, but not more than that. And this book does not do anything in that sort. It captures the physical intimacy in a very weird manner, but you still love it. So I don't know, but then there is this unspoken intimacy between both the main characters, physical intimacy, I mean, and it's very beautifully captured. I'm just so in love with this book. Now moving on to the second current read of mine. As I said that I have not read a lot. It's just 105 pages in, but again this was a very good read so far. Like, I enjoyed the characters and their development with each other. Even now most of the characters are still the major characters have been introduced, but still the side characters are being introduced in the book, and the book has just started, and I think I'm feeling very good about this book. It's a very light hearted read. So if you want, so far, okay, I don't know how it will turn out further, but so far it has been a very light hearted read for me. So if you are going through or reading very heavy themed book, I think such books makes up the whole difference. So far there are these two main characters, Knox and Naomi. So Naomi, she is basically trying to search her sister who called her last night and asked her to come and meet along with some cash, but this morning she has disappeared, leaving behind her 11-year-old daughter. So now Knox, who is basically the resident of a small town, is trying to help this Naomi, but at the same time they don't like each other. So the character development between them, the kind of dialogues written for them, it's really good. It's light-hearted, it's funny, it just gives you that particular giggles. I like it. Okay, so now moving on to the books that I have read, and in no particular order, I shall just start. And I am going to keep the reviews of these books really mini, okay, really small. So, first up is Sudha Murthy's 3000 Stitches. I have always heard a lot about this book. So, once I was scrolling Amazon and I came across this book, and I was like, okay, let me just grab it. And I did. And initially, I thought that it is going to be a very heavy themed book, because that's how I don't know, I felt it that way, but then it isn't. Basically, it takes you through Sudha Murthy's life incidences, which are very intriguing, which are very interesting, and they also gives you a lot of learning, especially into the real world. So there are around 12 to 13 small life stories, 11 life stories of hers. They are really small. You can just read this book in one sitting, and since it's a real life based story, so it will make a lot of sense, and it's also an interesting book to read through, and thus it becomes really easy to get through this book real quick. And I loved few of her stories, especially the first one, and also few others. Though I don't know, for some reason I haven't, yeah, I have actually marked a little bit. So let me just read you through one of the quote that I have marked. So this is okay. If you want to change them, then you have to change yourself first, which is, I think, very very important. It's very natural thing. So if you want to change something around you, you have to become that change. Otherwise it's not going to change as you think that it might. So the second book that I read was Every Summer After by Carly Fortune or Carly Fortune. This is the cover, and I actually enjoyed reading this book, though I don't remember a lot from this book. But what I remember is a small town beachside stories running in parallel universes, in the sense past and the present, and how these two main characters, basically there is this, I don't know, I will have to read through. Okay, so basically, Sam and Percy. Sam basically resides in this small town, beachside town, whereas Percy used to visit him every summer. And as they started growing up, as they started nearing their adulthood life, their leaving behind their teenage life, things started taking a turn. Though they have always liked each other, but they have never confessed that they like each other. And then they were, totally on their life's path, but then incidents happen, and then Percy, who is the main character, she has to come back to this town for some reason, because I think someone died in the story. I don't remember who exactly, but she has to come back, and that is how they started bonding again. And that is how they started, digging up the buried stuffs, and that is when they started digging out the reasons which led them apart. It's a good book. I liked the feel of it. I love the feel of it. The story is, I don't know, the story, as now it back then it felt really good, but now I feel that it is a very okay-ish story. It is very much similar to the other stories that I have read, but a little bit of difference, of course. And the ending was little bit tacky for me, I would say, because I don't know, nothing was very clear to me. I don't know if that is just me or someone else also felt the same. But yeah, if you want to go for small town, easy read, love stories, I think this is a book. Okay, the next book is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I hope that's how you pronounce his name, his or her, I don't know. But this book is such a beautiful book. I felt it like a warm hug from an elder sister. I wouldn't talk a lot about this book because I have talked a lot about this book in one of my vlogs. So if you want to know more about it, you can just go and watch that up. But as of now, this is such a good book. So basically, Nora, she decides to die, but then she lands up somewhere in between life and death, and that is when she is given chances to choose her alternate lives, because of course she dies of suicide and she does not want to live the current life because she feels that she is a failure and she regrets everything that she has done and she is not happy. So in order to find a life where she does not have any regrets, where she has fulfilled most of her dreams and she is happy, she is given a chance to try many alternate lives. And when she does try them, how does she feel about them and what exactly this book teaches you? It's really on some next level. So it's more like a self-help book, you can say a semi self-help book, but in a very intriguing, very unique manner. I was able to complete this book real quick because of the way it is written. It's written very beautifully. The way, the style of writing is very unique. That's what I felt. The next book is Death on the Nile. It's by Agatha Christie. This is my first book from this author, and damn, this was such a good book. So it feels like, I think it is written in the 90s or the 80s. The whole plot is set up in that era, but the way it is written, it feels so surreal. It feels like you are there watching every event unfold. So basically, I don't remember the names, I don't remember anything about this book, and I'm not willing to go through the synopsis at the moment. So any which ways, what I remember about this book is how this book made me felt. It made me felt so good. I just felt good reading this book. Like, it's a thriller, it's a mystery thriller, right? So basically, there are this bunch of people who have gone on a voyage, and there are some kind of rivalries and between the characters, basically the main character and her friend, because the main character has married this friend's fiance for, and how did she marry, what was the reason and everything. But then this main character, she dies. Okay, so she dies on this ship, and there is a detective too, and how is he able to find out the killer on the ship friendship itself. It's a very unique style of writing, the way everything she has written, the way everything has unfolded. It's so good. As I said, that this books gives you real feeling that you are actually on that ship, looking at every scene that is unfolding in front of you. Coming on to the next book, The Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Now, I don't remember much about this book, but then I remember again it's a small town based book, and I think I'm a sucker for small town based books, but then I don't remember anything about them later on, which is not a good thing. But yeah, any which ways, I felt good reading this book. Again, I was a little bored because at places it got a little too extended for no reason. But then there is this family rivalry going on. There is this main character, and the two brothers are fighting for her. So it's a whole lot of drama that is going on in this book. So if you are one of someone who likes a lot of family drama and also a good cute love story, I think this is the book for you. Now, next book, and this book was also an introduction to Emily Henry's writing for me, the book Lovers. I don't know, for some reason I feel very confused between her book titles, but yeah, the book Lovers, it's the first book of Emily Henry that I read. And dude, whatever you have heard about her writing, it is absolutely true. So if you have heard somebody, exaggerating something about her, they are right. Because I felt so good reading this book. Like, this was such a good read. Now, basically, Nora, who is a very workaholic, she has to, for some reason, shift to this small town. Again, it's a small town book. So I don't know, for some reason this was not my agenda, but this has happened that this year I was able to read a lot of small town books, which I'm not complaining about at all. I'm feeling really happy about that I was able to read a lot of small town books, because I think that's my favorite trope after thrillers, of course. So any which ways, I read this book, and yeah. So I was saying that Nora, who is a workaholic, and for some reason she has to shift to this. Small town, yeah, with her sister, because her sister, she is about to deliver her baby in few months time, but they want to bond together again because there have been some differences between them. And meanwhile, she is here, she is also trying to work on her current project, and at the same time she meets this other character, the main character, the male lead, okay, who she doesn't like, and the male lead also doesn't like her back. The story is completely written from the perspective of Nora's, but I would complain a little on that aspect, because it would be really nice if she would have written it at least few chapters from the male lead's perspective as well, because that is something that I was willing to see. Okay, what did he feel about her, and how does he look at her? But that is something that we were not fed. But whatever, Emily Henry fed me. It was so beautiful. Like, the feel of this book, it's really cute, it's really, I don't know, it's also very fast paced reading for some reason. I think that is majorly because the way she has written this book. So if you are looking for something that is rom-com kind, also really unique style of writing, with a small town but a workaholic girl kind of tropes, and enemies to friends kind of tropes, I think this is the book you should go for. Okay, so I read the Housemaid series, and I will go with the first part first, the Housemaid. What have you done here? What have you done here? I think this is the first book that gave me an introduction to Frida McFadden. I think I am pronouncing her name right. If I'm not, I'm really sorry about that, and please correct me in the comment section below. Any which ways, this was a mind blowing thriller. It was a mind blowing thriller. I think I am going to collide both the books together, so it's better I don't give any reviews in terms of the characters and the story plot. But what I would really say is that I love the first part more than the second one. I don't know, for some reason I was expecting a lot more in the second one, because the first part she has written so beautifully. Every chapter has a cliffhanger with very short, fast paced book. So basically, Millie, who finds a job at Nina's place as a housemaid, but once she starts working there, she finds that Nina, for some reason, is trying to be very, very weird. And at the same time, Andrew comes out to be a very sweet husband who is actually tolerating a lot of disrespect and a lot of stupid stuffs from Nina, who's the wife of Andrew. And for some reason, Millie feels that she really needs to interrupt between these things, because day by day they started getting extreme, until Millie finds the truth, until she finds the attic at the last level of the mansion. And that is when the whole plot twist happens. It's such a good book, and whoever has read it, they all have similar views on it. And I was expecting something very, very similar, or maybe a little more than the first part, with the second part, that is the housemaid secret. Now again, Millie here starts working as an employee at some place, I don't recall. So basically, I am not a very big fan of the part 2, because I kept on expecting something really great, but the storyline and the plot twist all felt were very predictable, though they were wrong. But nothing that could have excited me, not a kind of plot twist that I was looking forward to, not something that gave me thrills. So if you want to choose either of this book, I would say go for the first one. And by the way, both of them are not linked, which is a very, very good thing about this whole series. So yeah. And I also read two more thrillers which I have lent to some of my friend. So the first one is again by the same author, Never Lie. Dude, if you want to read a book between this and Never Lie, I would suggest go for Never Lie, because the kind of cliffhangers she has given there, it's a whole different level. The kind of twist, the kind of thrill that you get out of reading that book, it's a whole different level. I was never expecting anything of that sort that happened in that book. And the friend of mine read that, and she was like, damn, Maliha, you have given me a very good book. Like, can I keep this? And I think I have not answered to that, but yeah, I'm sure she can just keep it. She's my darling, so she can keep it. But returning to the book, it's a really, really good book. So let me just give you a little gist, because I have very recently read it like 2 weeks ago, so I remember a little bit about it. So there is this Dr. Hale who's a psychiatrist, and she treats her patient, like does their counseling at her mansion, but she lives alone. And then one day she goes missing. Then 3 years later, there is this new couple, Acacia, I think something, and Ethan. They are searching for their dream house, and they stumbled upon Miss Dr. Hale's mansion, and they finally thought of buying it. They are now dreaming to live here, okay, especially Ethan and not Atricia. I think that is what her name was. But any which ways, and this female character, she finds a whole hidden room where Dr. Hale used to keep the recordings of her patients. And after that recordings, everything takes a turn. Like you started seeing two parallel lines, one where Atricia and Ethan, who are somehow locked in this house, because it's snowing very heavily outside. between that line and how they are trying to get out of this place, and also a timeline where Dr. Hale was alive and how she was treating her patients and everything. And you could also see a glimpse of whatever Dr. Hale used to do with her patients, Atricia getting to know each and every thing of those events, and how each of these events are interconnected, and how every character is interconnected. Dude, the kind of plot twist that came during the climax, it was unexpected. I was not expecting that. My jaw dropped, okay, and I it kept dropping after that. So basically it's a good book. It's a very very good book, I would say. As I already said, if you want to go between the Housemaid or Never Lie, as of now, go for Never Lie. So I think now this McFadden has become my one of favorite thriller mystery authors, and I am looking forward to reading more of her books. And I also read one more book by Lisa Joel. I have read one of her book, The Family Upstairs, last year, which I love that book. It's again family mystery thriller, and this book that I read this year is also, I think that also covers similar themes: family mystery thriller, dead body, and everything. The name of the book is And Then She Was Gone. So basically, a 11-year or 9-year old girl goes missing, and her mother keeps finding her, searching her for next 10 years, for a decade, but there is no way you can find her. Her mother is clueless whether her daughter is still alive, or if she is dead. There is nothing she can find about, not a single clue about her daughter. And when she goes to police in the initial days of this incident, the police basically said that maybe your daughter has disappeared out of her own will and there is nothing much we can do. But decades later, incident starts taking place again, in terms of is getting back to her life, because for this past decade she was in a kind of grief, in a kind of slum, which is very dry, which is very grievousing part. I don't know if there is a word like that, but after a decade she finally feels that okay, enough is enough, because everybody around her also feels the same, and they starts motivating her. And then she is out in the world and trying to heal from her past traumas of disappearance of her daughter. But then boom, everything's back to square one, because for some reason and somehow the question starts arising again, and that is when she gets to know the truth about her daughter's disappearance. So I would suggest, it's a good book, but a one timer kind of book, because I don't know, I was expecting the plot twist a little better. I was expecting especially the ending of book could have been written in a much more better manner. A better story could have been there, but it was very obvious. For some reason I was able to predict the ending of the story, and I did not like that. Any which ways, coming to the next book, that is Wild Love. So this book was my introduction to billionaire trope, dude. And this was my first book, Wild Love, especially also by Elsie Silver. This was an introduction book to this author as well. I think this year I read a lot of introductory books, in the sense I introduced myself to new authors, and I think this was also one of my aim for books this year, that I shall be reading a lot of new authors this year, and that is what I have been able to achieve, which I'm very grateful for. I'm really feeling good about this, alhamdulillah. But any which ways telling you more about this book. Basically, Ford and Percy, yeah, that's पर्सी पर्सी किसी और का नाम था ना, शायद से रोज़ी नाम है इसमें. So basically, this book follows the life of Rosie and Ford, who have been childhood frenemies, you can say. And after a particular age, they had their different ways, so they move in those directions. But once again, they are back in this town. Again, this book is situated in a small town, and that was one of the most intriguing theme of this book that I went for it. and I actually enjoyed reading it. Would I read it once more? Of course not, because there is nothing very very special except the things that he did for her, dude. Those things were very very special. They just allowed me giggling, and they allowed me to just kicking my legs, my feet in the air for no reason. Oh, it was so beautiful the way he did things for her, especially what he did to the people who have hurt her. That was wow. It was wow. Once they are back in the town for different reasons, of course, Ford has his own reason, and he is a billionaire because not just because he has earned his own money, but also his father is a singer, a well known, renowned singer. And whereas Rosie, she comes from a very middle class family, but again they have their bonding going on, not just the main characters but also the bonding between the family members. And it is really a good story. I mean, the characters and the way the dialogues are written, it's really heart warming, you can say, at some places. So if you are looking for a book that has billionaire tropes going on, that has small town situation going on, that has frenemies to lovers kind of situation going on, then I think this is the book for you. Okay, now coming to the books that I actually read but have not completed. So these are the two books, and one more book was there, Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. And I shall begin with that book first because I loved reading that book. I was loving reading that book, but for some reason, after reaching a page of 200 or 250, I lost a whole track. That was majorly because I lost the book, right? So that book fell off my hand while I was traveling, and after that I started reading it online also, but it does just not give me the same feels. So I'm waiting to purchase that book again and then restart it. And it was a really good book. So if you have heard a lot about Ali Hazelwood, I think that is true. Again, that book covers the themes like enemies to lovers and academia themes are going on, which is really unique for me. I have never read such a book, and it is again fast paced, light hearted rom com kind of situations going on at times. So I think it's a good book. You should definitely go for it. And coming back to this book, that is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Kawaguchi. Wow. By Toshikazu Kawaguchi. I hope I have pronounced his name right, but I don't know, for some reason I do not feel very much belonging to this book. Like, I don't feel that connected. I don't know, for some reason I don't feel connected to this book. I would say it's a one time read, and at times it would give you life reflections, moments where you could also reflect back on your life and see, but then nothing more than that. I don't know, I don't feel very special about this book. I feel nothing about this book. Firstly, I think it is also little hard to put a grasp on this book, majorly because of the names that is there. They are, I think, Japanese names, and it is really difficult for me to recollect those names when they appear next time. So I think that is one thing. And apart from that, the stories are also not very unique or something. In some way they are, but then in other ways they are not. So I don't feel, I have not read it completely halfway through, but I will for sure try to complete it because I really genuinely want to give this book a whole chance, because I have heard a lot, but so far it's not been a very special book to me. Last but not the least book that I want to talk about is They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. Now, I don't know, I picked this book, it was going fine and it was going okay. The storyline is also very unique. It is more like a sci-fi kind of book, situation going on especially. But for some reason I went on net and I searched the themes of this book, and one of the theme is gay romance. I don't think I'm going to read this book. One part of me wants to read this book solely because of the storyline. I was feeling really good. Like I actually was trying to enjoy the whole read of it, that thrill that was coming with it. But after that gay romance wala word, I'm very much skeptical on moving forward with this book. अगर मेरे पास पढ़ने के लिए कुछ भी नहीं रहा, मुझे बहुत बोर हो रहा है, मुझे कुछ यूनिक पढ़ना है, तो तब मैं वापस इस बुक को उठाऊंगी, वरना मोस्ट ऑफ द चांसेस आ कि मैं ये बुक को वापस नहीं पढ़ूंगी. इवन इफ़ द रोमांस हैज़ नॉट स्टार्टेड येट, दे आर स्टिल फ्रेंड्स एंड मे एक्चुअली स्ट्रेंजर्स और फ्रेंड्स के बीच में जो एक लाइन रहती है, एक जो कनेक्शन रहता है, दोनों कैरेक्टर्स अभी वही लाइन पे है. बट आई डोंट नो, आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू रीड, मे बी, आई डोंट नो. ठीक है. So yeah guys, that was it for this video. I hope you liked this video, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make an effort to like, share and subscribe to my channel. That would mean a lot to me, and I will see you guys in my next video. Until next time, you guys take care of yourself. Bye.